Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Career Evangelist Podcast. Today's guest is Will Watrous, a seasoned entrepreneur and leadership coach who has led four companies ranging from early stage startups to organizations with over 250 employees. Now, with this growth, Will experienced intense stress that impacted his health, and in the process, he discovered a better way to lead and scale through what he calls entrepreneurial operating system or EOS. I'm curious to know more about that. Today, Will helps leaders and teams to gain clarity, alignment, and traction so that they can achieve meaningful results without burnout. So, we are going to be talking and equipping you guys on how to manage your career, how to manage your schedule without burnout. With that, I'll bring in our guest. Hello, Will. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Bonik. Great to be here.
Good, good, good. It's good to have you. So, EOS, let's start from there. Why should non-founders, why should they focus on entrepreneurial operating system? Why should an employee care about that?
Well, it's funny. The work that I do, I work directly with leadership teams. So it's typically the 3 to 7 people who are making the most important decisions in the company. But the impact of the work that I do with this leadership team rolls down to the entire organization and impacts everyone top to bottom. So you asked, why should an employee be interested in the entrepreneurial operating system? I think that if that employee is experiencing an environment at their workplace where they don't always feel clear and on the same page with what the goals and priorities are of the organization, or they feel like maybe there's a lack of accountability. Sometimes we say we're going to do something and then we don't wind up doing it. Or they feel friction, drama in the workplace, meaning that people are not communicating well, don't feel like they're getting along, um, don't feel like it's a healthy culture. Then I think that the entrepreneurial operating system would be very interesting to them, if not to approach their leadership team and say, hey, I came across this, you might look into it a little bit, then at least to apply the principles in their own life, whether that's their personal life, their family life, um, or their, let's call it their personal career. Because the ideas that are inside of EOS are these are ideas that have been around for 100 years. They'll be around for 1,000 more. These are no magic pills, no silver bullets, nothing new under the sun. So these are time-tested principles and tools, very simple tools that will apply to, in my opinion, nearly every area of life. In fact, I've taken the EOS process and the EOS tool set and applied them into my family. So we use those same ideas, same principles, same tools as a family, and it has dramatically improved the health of my family. Getting us all on the same page. We share common core values. We have weekly family meetings. We call them halftime because we like football, so we call it halftime once a week. On Sunday evenings we'll get together and we have a specific agenda. So same day, same time, same agenda, starts on time, ends on time. And anyway, that's just one tool, one example. But long answer to your short question, I think what we're about to talk about can affect every area of your life if you'll apply the principles.
Okay, so now I think you have aroused my curiosity more. You said there are some ideas, some principles in EOS. I want to know because you said it's we can apply it to every areas of our lives. Can you please share more about these ideas so that my listeners can also learn from these EOS principles?
Certainly, at a high level, EOS helps leaders get what they want from their companies. And It does that with a complete system and a set of very practical tools. And those tools do three things. I call them vision, traction, and healthy. Vision from the standpoint of first getting the leaders 100% on the same page with where is this company going and how do we plan to get there. Traction from the standpoint of helping your leaders to become much more disciplined and accountable so they're executing really well on every part of your vision. And then healthy, meaning helping your leaders to become a more healthy, functional, cohesive leadership team. Because unfortunately, leaders often don't function well as a team. And what I found is, as goes the leadership team, so goes the rest of the organization. So we get to the point where everyone is crystal clear and fully aligned with the vision and plan of the organization, where you look around and anywhere you look, people are consistently making progress toward that vision. It's gaining traction. You see that progress. And they're doing it as a group of people who enjoy the work they do and the people that they're around. And so that's vision, traction, healthy at a high level, what it does. The tools and principles there, if you Google EOS, so there's, at any given moment, like right now, I think there's 32 or 33,000 companies working with an EOS implementer doing what I do. And there's many more than that who are just using the principles after reading a book. There's a book out there called Traction by Gino Wickman, and he's the one who got this all started many years ago. And so it's a very proven system. And the system is and process is like I said, being used in really in over 100,000 companies around the world.
Mhm.
But the only reason I say that is if you want to learn more into it, because we could spend this entire time just talking about one of the six, there's six key components of every organization, yes? So we could spend this whole time just talking about just one of them. But I'll give you the quick rundown. There's the vision component.
Okay. Mhm.
So we're all fully aligned and understanding where we're going, how we're going to get there. There's the people component. That's the second one. That's getting the right people in the right seats.
Mhm.
Right people are people who share your core values, who exemplify the culture that you want in the organization. Right seats means that they're great at their job. They're skilled, talented, hungry, have the capacity to do the work well. So people is that second component. The third component is the data component. So that's making decisions on facts and figures, on real objective information versus the emotions, subjective feelings, and egos that often drive the decision-making process in an entrepreneurial organization. So to recap so far, vision, people,
Yeah.
data, that's the first three. The next one is the issues component. And what that is helping your team to be really good at solving problems as they arise. The truth is, you can't grow a great company if your people aren't great at identifying problems, discussing them, getting to the root of them, then fixing them at the root so they don't happen again, making them go away for good. That's the fourth one, the issues component. The fifth component is the process component. And so that's operating like a franchise. In other words, documenting, clarifying what's the best and fastest and most efficient way to do the work that we do. So identifying your core processes, getting those documented, simplified, and ultimately getting them followed by everyone in the organization. So you're not just creating this handbook that sits in a drawer somewhere, but it's an actual living document that people are following on a daily basis. That's the fifth one, the process component. And then I'll end it with the last one, which is the traction component. Traction is just making sure that you're bringing that vision down to the ground and executing on it day in and day out. And so we have within each one of those six components, we have a couple of tools or practices that we use to strengthen those six key components. And what we found again and again and again with tens of thousands of companies is that when you get each one of these six key components to 80% strong or better, because we measure our progress along the journey, when you get it to 80% strong or better in all six of those key components, you have a business that is healthy, that is strong, that is growing. And I like to share the story. By God's grace, I was able to start a company and now I own it passively. It's a growing, healthy, profitable company. And I stepped away about 3 years ago. And so now I meet with a CEO once a month. I review finances and support him as he needs it. And that's it. And so now I have this incredible asset that's a huge blessing to me and my family and all the employees. They do great work. But my point is, I got it running on EOS years and years ago. And that created a lot of freedom for me as the owner. I was able to step away, and now I'm following a passion of mine in my life, which is now teaching others, other leadership teams, how to implement this tool set into their businesses and get everything that they want from their businesses.
Awesome. So I think more people need to know about this EOS. I think I like the way you highlighted those six key components. I think those are very, very essential for any business that want to grow out there. Now, I want to help people that are experiencing burnout. And I do know in most organizations, you are not just dealing with one priority. People are dealing with multiple priorities. So what do we tell professionals, working professional, in terms of how to manage their competing priorities without, getting burnout or maybe putting long hours?
Yeah. So within EOS, one mantra we repeat over and over again is less is more. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Less is more. Dumb it down, keep it simple. And one of the practical ways that we do that is that when let's say we have a vision of an objective, some big thing that we're trying to accomplish, we start by prioritizing. So there's 57 things we could do.
Mhm.
What are the handful of things that we need to prioritize and just focus on those few things first? So it's a matter of focusing on the top priorities. And there's a book out there called Focus by Al Rice. And in that book, he compared, you know, he talked about the sun. The sun has billions of kilowatts of energy that it puts out. Yet we could be outside all day in the sun, and the worst thing that happens is maybe a sunburn. And even that could be taken care of with a little bit of sunscreen. But yet a laser with just 2 or 3 kilowatts of energy can burn through diamonds, steel. It's amazingly powerful. And his point was that we are much more like a laser than the sun. We don't have unlimited energy. So it's critically important that we take the energy that we have and focus it. And that power of focus will help us make progress. And with the focus, we're focusing on the true top priorities. I like to say, if we don't get this done, the wheels are going to fall off. Like
Yeah.
what's truly if the house is on fire and we have to run out the door, we can only grab 3 to 7 items. What are those 3 to 7 items we got to grab? And so prioritization is a skill of an executive, of a leader, of any successful employee, especially in today's knowledge worker type environment. You have to be able to prioritize. And so prioritization and focus would be my answer to your question.
Oh, that's good. So, you've led multiple companies. You've experienced growth. Can you share with us some of, I'll call it career lessons that you learned while growing your businesses?
Sure. So the first one is that uh, your answer is within arm's reach.
Mm.
So whatever you're looking for, whatever you feel like you need, it's closer than you think. And it's just a matter of looking for it. It's right around you. And what I mean is that's anything, I'm talking about anything from a person, a relationship you might need, or a connection, or it's software, or it's a resource. It's within arm's reach. So just know that the answer is right there. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah.
And so I would first encourage you to know that so often we're grasping, we're trying to reach, but yet the answer is closer than we think. So don't be discouraged. Know that your answer is very near. And I'll say this too. Sometimes the answer is in your own mouth. The words that you speak have a profound impact on your career, on your mentality, on your level of success and achievement. When I was starting the company that I now own passively, There were many days I would get out of bed with a sense of dread, just heaviness, so much to do, so much overwhelm. But yet I would get up and I would speak words of life over myself, words of encouragement, words of determination, words of faith. I'm a Christian, so I would declare my faith in God that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. No weapon formed against me will prosper. I have the grace that I need to succeed. Like this, I'm serious. And I did not feel like saying any of these things, but I would get those words out of my mouth and declare it. And I promise you, it would change the atmosphere. It would invigorate my spirit. I would approach my work with commitment and clarity and perseverance. And so getting my own, I call it getting my motor running,
Yeah.
that's so important because it starts with you. You are your greatest asset. You are your greatest resource. And if you are not in good shape, if you're not healthy, if you're not positive, if you're not determined and committed and full of faith in yourself and what's possible, then I don't know that you're going to be able to accomplish much of anything.
So that's so good, Will. I'm a man of faith myself, and I do appreciate you sharing those words of encouragement. I think more people needs to find that alignment in terms of how they can motivate themselves. Self-motivation to me is very, very important because, like you said, there will be days when maybe your heart wants to do it, or your body is tired and you don't know how to, motivate yourself, get up and get in the arena to work on your goals. But I like the way you share that. Now, for those working professionals that maybe they are feeling stuck at the moment, what career advice will you give them in terms of how to keep looking forward and keep making progress?
So I found that clarity creates confidence and clarity creates energy. So clarity, when I say clarity, I mean in your mind's eye, having a clear picture of what success looks like for you. And I'll tell you, many, many years ago, I sat down and I wrote a one full page. I took, I think, 10 areas of my life and I wrote a full page in each area of what my life would look like, what I wanted it to look like in 3 years. That so I sat down and I wrote everything, what it felt like, what I was doing, everything. I did, I envisioned that deeply. I got it inside of me. I internalized that image of what my life was in that area in 3 years. I did that for in all in 10 areas of my life. And I went a step further and I found a picture that represented each one. I took those pictures and I uploaded them. I had this 27-inch iMac computer, and I set each one of those pictures as a screensaver so that when the computer fell asleep, those pictures would float by in the background. And uh, not long after I set that up, my kids are homeschooled, and my daughter took that computer and started using it as her primary computer. And she had changed the settings and made it her own and everything. So that it never did it. Like it never scrolled through, and I got into a different computer, and I didn't happen to repeat it on mine.
Mhm.
Well, it was about 3 or 4 years later. I was walking by the schoolroom in my house, and I don't know what happened. She had been in there changing settings or something, but I looked into the room and the computer had fallen asleep, and those pictures started to stream by from
Wow.
years before.
Yeah.
And I went in, I saw them, I went in, I sat down and I looked at them and I teared up because like 7 out of those 10 things were true.
Wow.
And here's what's crazy is that I wasn't super diligent. I didn't say, okay, here's my goal. Week one, I'm going to do this. Month one, I didn't plan it all out and create a scorecard and metrics and get super technical with it. I just deeply internalized myself in that moment of time in the future when I first set this up. And as it happened, most of those things came true. So
Mm.
I say all that to say the clarity in my mind's eye of what I really want, what does success really look like in this area, creates energy, it creates decisiveness, it creates confidence, and it'll cut through a lot of that feeling stuck because that's what I was saying earlier. When you feel like you need something, the answer is closer than you think.
Yeah.
So when that energy and confidence and decisiveness is at hand, then this next step becomes obvious.
Obviously, Will, I'll say you were very intentional with the story you just shared with us, and I'm sure you are also very proactive. Now, I'm thinking about people out there that just live through life without this intentionality. What kind of system will you recommend that they put in place that will help them to go from being reactive to being more proactive so that they can take control of their life?
I wish I had this sexy, shiny, new, interesting answer, an app. Oh, just download this app.
Yeah.
There, it, I don't think anything like that exists. I think that what you get rewarded for in public, what you practice in private. And so this comes back to habits and daily routines. This is not glamorous. This is a morning routine, right? You get up and you have a handful of things that you do before your day starts. And so you have some journaling time, some reading time, some quiet time. For me, maybe some Bible time. Like those handful of things, that sets the foundation for everything else. Because, life is won or lost in these 24-hour cycles. And so if your question was in regard to intentionality, I think set your intentionality first to create daily habits that will set you up for success. So, like I know people have lots of little things that, and it seems like everyone has a different way, something that works for them. Some people have things that pop up on their phone as reminder, fine, whatever works for you. But I think it all comes back to, first of all, starting your day out with a routine that fuels you spiritually, mentally, physically, exercising in the morning, getting yourself active. These things are what build the foundation for your intentionality to actually thrive.
Okay, so good. Now, as we are wrapping this episode, I want to hear over your career. I know you've made your fair share of mistakes. What are
Mhm.
some mistakes, or maybe one mistake that you think you made, and what lesson did you learn from that mistake?
I think as I look back, um, one of the biggest mistakes I made was not delegating, um, trying to do too much myself. Um, you know, they say joy is born from pain,
Mhm.
and before there's multiplication, first comes subtraction. And the idea here is that uh, do working twice as hard doesn't give you twice the results. So you have to be smart about how you spend your time and energy. And very often that means having a clear picture of how people can help you and delegating to them effectively. So you've painted a clear picture of success for them. How can they help you? What's their responsibilities, accountabilities, roles? And then handing stuff off to people and allowing them to run with it. So that in my case, so that I'm not trying to being overwhelmed because I've got my fingers in everything. And so I'm not sure how much time we have left, but I came to a point, you mentioned the health scare where I just was overwhelmed with so much stress that I literally wound up in the hospital. And that was the defining moment where I said, okay, I have to create a healthier business and a healthier life. I've got to figure this out. And that's where I actually soon came across, I said, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, I came across EOS and we
Okay.
started implementing it in the company. And that's where I started handing things off effectively, and people thrived. They were so much more successful in each area than I had been. And that allowed me to focus on my area of unique ability, to do the things that I loved, that energized me, that filled my cup. And that's what really opened the door to greater success.
Thank you, Will, for sharing that. We've heard about the mistake. Finally, I want to hear about maybe a success story of any company that got transformed by using EOS.
Well, there's so many out there. I'll just speak for myself. I mentioned, I was stressed out, but when we started implementing EOS, our net profit went from 6% to 34%.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Um, the team became healthier, stronger, and it's related to the last thing I was just talking about. I had someone, my right hand man, and he started leading and taking over accountabilities and doing such a better job even than I was. And as I said, that opened up so much freedom for me. It's amazing that when you're operating in your area of unique ability, when you're using your gifts and talents, it fuels you. You could work 10, 12 hours, but if it's in your area of unique ability, at the end of the day, you think, oh, wow, that was a big day. But you're not usually not totally wiped and exhausted. You're actually okay. Whereas if you had spent 10 to 12 hours of work that you didn't feel good at and didn't enjoy, at the end of that period of time, you just want to go sleep. You're just wiped out. And so that was, I think, my biggest success in the company that I led was finding the right people, getting them in the right seats, and then handing things off to them and operating and doing in the working in the areas that I loved. And I would say that's true for my clients as well. Most companies have been started by this visionary founder type of person, but until they can be surrounded by a team that can effectively support them and bring the vision to life, it's often a very frustrating experience.
That's so good to hear. I've heard about vision, I've heard about people. Will, maybe there is something on your mind that I've not asked today. Finally, I want you to maybe a message to my listeners or anything at all on your mind. Free will, just in 1 minute, share something with us.
Oh my goodness. I think I've given you all my best nuggets here, Bola. I would say um, family and relationships is what comes to mind. At the end of the day, you're at the end of your life. Let's say you're on your hospital bed. At the end of your life, you only have a few more breaths left. What would you say to the people who matter most in your life at that moment in time? What would you say to them? And I suspect it'd be things about how much you love them, how much you believe in them, how much you want good for them. And so my encouragement is don't wait until then. Start now living like those things are true today. So if it's your wife, your husband, your kids, your siblings, start talking to them now like you would talk to them on your deathbed when you have just no more time left. There's no more agendas, no more work to do. I mean, if at the end, it kind of purifies and now you know what matters. So start acting like that now.
Thank you, Will. So, how can we find you? Where can we find you so that we can continue to share your journey and learn from your wisdom, Will?
All right. I guess LinkedIn, if you just looked me up on LinkedIn, we could connect there. Or there's a eosworldwide.com has a website where you can find me if you wanted to reach out as well.
It's been awesome having you on the show, Will. Thank you very much for your time. So, my listeners, there you have it. It's been a good moment with Will. Please connect with him and continue to stay with Career Evangelist. Thank you.
Thank you.